Today we're going to be looking at matrices that are really 3x3s. Meaning we have 3 cells going both vertically and horizontally. This one's called Fun in the Gym. It says the 5th graders in the after school program were bummed. It was pouring rain outside and they would not be able to go out to play. The physical education teacher, Mr. Fun, offered to set up some centers in the gym. He set up 5 centers, each with a different piece of equipment. Use the clues to figure out which equipment was at each center and the pair of the after-school students that started off at each center. So again, we have our clues on the right. Down below, we have that table. I'm going to go ahead and fill out student 1 in that table down there just so I can fill it in as we go. So we have Roderick, Vera, Dawson, Shaquana. I can't fit Shaquana in there, so we're just going to go with Shaq. Okay, and then Francine. All right. So now that way, because if you remember when we did the 2x2, sometimes we can fill in the table faster than we can that matrix up top, and we just tend to miss things. So let's get started. Clue number 1 says Tyson and Roderick were partners, but they weren't at station 1 or 3. So let's deal with the partners part first. Okay, so Tyson and Roderick have to be partners. So I'm going to put an O and a 1. Okay, and I'm also going to fill in down here. Roderick and Tyson are partners. Okay, so that means Roderick cannot have any other partner. So I can cross off horizontally, and that also means that Tyson can't have another partner. I'm going to cross off vertically. All right, then it says, but they weren't at station 1 or 3. Okay, so they were not at station 1 or 3. That means that Roderick here could not be at station 1 or 3. And then if I go up and down, if I go vertically here, Tyson also could not be at station 1 or station 3. So I'm going to block those out. All right, next clue. It says center 5 had the basketball, but Francine didn't start there. So let's start with the first part here. Center 5 had the basketball. So we need to find center 5 and basketball. So center 5 and basketball here. Center 5 had the basketball. So that's clue 2. Francine did not start here. Okay, so that means that Francine didn't have a basketball and Francine didn't start at 5. So I need to find Francine and cross out 5. I also need to cross out Francine and basketball. Okay, now, I think that's everything from that one. Yep, okay, so now, clue 3. Georgia didn't work with Vera or Dawson. So let's start there. Georgia did not work with Vera or Dawson. So if I find Georgia, she did not work with Vera or Dawson. But she did start at a center with a number lower than 3. Okay, so that means that Georgia, right, could not have started at 3, 4, or 5. Okay, so only 1 and 2 is less than 3, right? Okay, now, something else I just realized here as well is that I know the basketball is at 5. Right, station 5, we learned that in the last clue, which means then Georgia could not have had a basketball. Right, so we know Georgia was not at 5. We know because she wasn't at 5, then she couldn't have been playing with the basketball. All right, let's go to clue 4. The centers were, in no particular order, center 4, the one with the hula hoop, the one where Shaquana started, the one where Beverly started, and the center number 3. All right, so that's quite the list. We just need to do our systematic list to eliminate some overlaps here. So all of these things they listed are all different items, so they can't overlap. So it says center 4 and the one with the hula hoop. That means center 4 cannot have a hula hoop. Right, so center 4 cannot have a hula hoop. All right, so then center 4 and Shaquana can't go together. So Shaquana and center 4 cannot go together. And then the one where Beverly started. So center 4 and Beverly cannot go together. Center 4 and Beverly. There we go. Where are we? And then center 4 and center 3. That makes sense because you can't have two centers with the same number. Okay, so now I dealt with everything dealing with center 4. Now I'm going to do the hula hoop. Okay, so hula hoop and Shaquana can't go together. So Shaquana and hula hoop are going to get blocked. The hula hoop and Beverly needs to get blocked. So Beverly and hula hoop need to be blocked. And then the hula hoop and center 3 need to get blocked. So hula hoop and center 3 need to be blocked. Okay, so now we did everything with the hula hoop. Now we need to do Shaquana. Shaquana and Beverly can't be together. Right, Shaquana and Beverly, those are eliminated. And then Shaquana and center 3. So find Shaquana and center 3 and eliminate that. Then that's everything with Shaquana. Now Beverly and center 3 cannot be together. So find Beverly and center 3 cannot be together. Okay, that was a lot. So make sure you're very systematic in that so that we don't skip over anything. Okay, clue 5 says Francine's partner was either Michael or Terrence. So let's start there. So Francine either had to be with Michael or Terrence. That means she could not have been with Georgia or Beverly. Okay, and that opens up something for us, but we'll come back to that in 1 second. So Francine's partner was either Michael or Terrence, but she didn't start at centers 1 or 4. Okay, so she did not start at center 1 or 4. That was clue 5. Okay, so now let's go back here. And under the student 1 and student 2, where those intersect here, now notice we have a column with just one opening. Okay, so that means that Georgia and Shaquana had to work together. So I'm going to go ahead and put my O there, and I'm going to fill in my table. So this has to be Georgia. All right. Now, I also need to go horizontally with Shaquana's name there. All right, so let's see what else we have here. Oh, you know what else I forgot to do back here? I should have done earlier. I know the basketball goes in section 5 or in center 5, so I need to cancel out vertically and horizontally in that row too. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. All right, so now I think we're ready for 6. Clue 6. The flying disc was at the first center. All right, so the flying disc we know is at the first center. So I have an O, which means I need to then cross out vertically and horizontally. That leaves a hula hoop at center 2, because I only have one option there, right? So this has to be an O, which means I can cross out vertically. Horizontally is done. So I know the hula hoop has to be at 2. I know the flying disc has to be at 1. I know the basketball has to be at 5. All right, so now the problem is we don't know anything else yet. So let's go back. Number 7. Vera and her partner Michael. Okay, so wait, that's a partner for us. Vera and Michael are together. So I'm going to mark an O there. Cross out horizontally and vertically. And I'm going to go down to the bottom. Vera and Michael are together. I know it's very sloppy. All right, then I also noticed Francine and Terrence are the only ones left. Or that's my only option there for Francine. So Terrence. All right, so now I can cross out vertically under Terrence, which means Dawson and Beverly have to work together. Now, there was another clue back here we're going to go back to in 1 second. But let's finish what we were doing with Vera. All right, it says Vera and her partner Michael, check, started at a center lower than 4. So Vera and Michael, so if I take Michael, started at a center lower than 4. So it has to be 3, 2, or 1. So for Michael, I can eliminate 4 and 5. Okay, same thing for Vera. I can eliminate 4 and 5. Now, if you remember, if we eliminate 5, we know 5 is that basketball. So Vera cannot have a basketball. We also know then that who was that? Michael cannot have a basketball. So Michael cannot have a basketball. Okay, now let's go back. So Francine was a partner with either Michael or Terrence, but she didn't start at 1 or 4. Okay, so that means Francine didn't start at 1 or 4. That means Terrence here couldn't have started at 1 or 4 either. So Terrence, I need to get rid of 1 and 4. That was back from clue 5. Now notice we do have only one opening here at 4. So that means that Tyson, so if we can find Tyson and Rodney, they're at center number 4. Okay, so now let's go, I'm going to fill in this column here, so vertically. Horizontally is done for me. So let's go up to that partner there. We know Roderick had to be at 4, which means we can eliminate horizontally and vertically here. All right, so we still don't know what they played with, but we're getting there. All right, now, where are we? Number 8. The jump rope can be found at center 3, but that's not where Michael started. So we know the jump rope has to be with 3. So let's find jump rope in 3. So jump rope in 3. Cancel horizontally and vertically. We only have one left, so we know the trampoline has to be at 4. Okay, so we know Roderick is at 4. Right? We know Roderick's at 4, so let me fill this in. We have a trampoline at 4. Okay, and we know Roderick's at 4, so Roderick has to be at the trampoline. So I can cancel out horizontally and vertically. Now think about Roderick's partner, that's Tyson. Right, Tyson, so that means Tyson is also at 4, the trampoline. So I find Tyson up top, I'm going to go down, trampoline, and he's at 4. Okay, we got that covered, so I need to go horizontally and vertically here. All right, so the jump rope could be found at center 3. Jump rope is at 3. Did we do that one already? Yes. Okay, and that's not where Michael started. So we know Michael is not at 3. Where's Michael? There's Michael. Okay, so Michael cannot be at 3. That was clue 8. Okay, so that means there's only one option here in center 3, and that would be Terrence. Okay, so I need to find Terrence. Terrence down here on the bottom was with Francine. They're at 3. Okay, and we know 3 and jump rope cannot go together, which we figured out already. Okay, so now Francine and Terrence are both at 3. So let's go back to our grid and fill that in. So Francine, I know, is not at 3, which means they have to be at 2. No. Sorry, I said that backwards. Francine is at 3. So I need to eliminate 2. I apologize. Okay, so now I need to cancel vertically and horizontally. All right, so we know Francine and Terrence are at station 3, but we also know that 3 here has to have a jump rope. Okay, so I can fill this in. So this is my jump rope. Okay, so we can go back now. We know Francine and Terrence and station 3 and jump rope all have to go together. So I'm going to work horizontally and vertically through the whole grid. Okay, so I'm going to find Francine. Francine. We know she's with Terrence. We know it's station 3 and it should be the jump rope. So I need to put an O at jump rope, which I need to then cancel horizontally and vertically. Now I want to do that vertically for Terrence. Okay, so there's Terrence and Francine. They need to have the jump rope. Cancel horizontally and vertically. And we know that they're at station 3. So canceling horizontally and vertically. Alright, so usually at this point I kind of do like a quick check. Have I eliminated enough to say, oh, this has to be a circle? Nothing. Oh, down here at the bottom I see one. So station 5, I see I only have one opening. So that means Beverly is at station 5. So station 5 for Beverly. And we know Beverly and station 5 and basketball all have to go together, right? 5 and basketball went together earlier on. So 5 has to be basketball. All right, so now let's fill horizontally and vertically. So we're going to find Dawson, Bev, 5, and basketball. Okay, so here's Dawson, 5, and basketball. So let's cancel horizontally and vertically in those rows and columns. Now let's do the same thing for Bev. So Bev is with Dawson, should have a basketball. Canceling horizontally, vertically, and with station 5, which we already have marked, just canceling horizontally and vertically there. Okay, so now if I go back up to my top right grid up here, I notice that I have a single lonely block here for the hula hoop and Vera. Oops, that should have been an O, sorry. So that is my only option vertically there, right? So Vera has to have the hula hoop. So here's my hula hoop. So Vera and Michael have to have the hula hoop. So let's go Vera and then Michael have to have a hula hoop. So I can cancel horizontally and vertically, which leaves the flying disc left for Georgina and Shaquana. All right, so now, excuse me, now it's all about figuring out which station they were at. Okay, so let me go back up to this top right corner and fill in what I know. Shaquana had the flying disc. So we got to figure out who's at 1, who's at 2. So I'm going to kind of go back to my clues again. Tyson and Roderick were partners, but they weren't at station 1 or 3. Okay, but that's good. Francine didn't start at center 5. Well, we know where Francine is. Number 3, Georgia didn't work with Vera or Dawson, but she did start at a center with number lower than 3, which is good. That's 1 and 2. Okay, then I don't know if this helps us. It says in no particular order. Center 4, the one with the hula hoop, the one where Shaquana started. So Shaquana cannot have the hula hoop. Okay, we knew that. The one where Beverly started, Bev's done, and center number 3. Okay, that's all done. Francine's partner was either Michael or Terrence, but she didn't start at centers 1 or 4. Okay, so Francine's partner was Terrence, and they didn't start at 1 or 4. Okay, we know that. The flying disc was at the first center. Here we go. The flying disc was at the first center. I guess we just didn't look hard enough here. Or I didn't. Flying disc was at center 1, and we know Georgina had the flying disc, so she has to be at center 1. Okay, then I can cross out horizontally and vertically. So my flying disc was at 1. The other group was at 2. All right, so this is how sometimes you kind of lose yourself in here because there's just so many directions to go. So you have to look back and forth, up and down, and go back and check your clues again. All right, so you're going to try one of these on your own. Do your best. I know this is not easy. It's something that we'll practice and it'll get better with time. I'm also going to post this to Classroom, so if you need to look at it again and kind of hear my logic, you can do that.